Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. This is your Man United versus Partizan Belgrade Europa League preview. Tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock kick-off at Old Trafford. It is our fourth game in the Europa League. We have so far won 2 games out of 3 in the Europa League, and we have registered 7 points from a possible 9. I do expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to make a lot of alterations in the squad tomorrow evening, because obviously Brighton is on the horizon, and as you are all aware, Ashley Young is suspended for the Brighton game on Sunday, because obviously he picked his 5th booking in the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth last weekend. But this is a game Manchester United should win against Partizan Belgrade. We did win the reverse fixture by 1-0. Like I mentioned, wasn't the best performances by Manchester United, but we did still get the win. It was from an Anthony Martial penalty just before half time in that particular game. But there was some good individual performances in the reverse fixture. Like I mentioned, Martial did really well. He wasn't so effective in the first half, but I thought he did well in the second half. I thought Brandon Williams had a really good game. And like I did say, reflecting on Brandon Williams' impressive performances, I said he will earn more first team promotions. James Garner obviously played in the reverse fixture, making his full debut for the football club. And I thought also James Garner did really well. Some people believe Solskjaer will stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation. Maybe some people believe he should revert back to the 3-4-1-2 or the 3-5-2, because arguably we seem to look a better way with that formation, because obviously in that 4-game period, when we was unbeaten, we seem to look a much better team in that. But obviously now we're back to square one, because obviously we lost last weekend to Bournemouth by 1-0. So on this video, I'm going to give you some team news building up to the game. Also, I'm going to give you my starting 11 prediction, and also I'm going to give, obviously when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done his press conference, which I do presume will be sometime this afternoon, I will interpret some of the stuff that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has mentioned on his press conference reaction, like we always do. We're kind of sure definitely that Paul Pogba will not be playing. Solskjaer did indicate out the other week that there could be a slight chance that Pogba could be back after the international break, for the game against Sheffield United, but it's very unlikely. But he did say there was a slight chance. But Solskjaer has confirmed anyway that Paul Pogba is out until December with an ankle injury, because he's confirmed the extent of the injury. And Pogba's missed 10 of the last 12 games in all competitions due to this injury. Tuan Zebe, Nemanja Matic and Luke Shaw. Solskjaer confirmed, I think, in his last press conference, that they will not be in action until after the international break. Matic is out with a minor problem. Luke Shaw has been out with a hamstring injury. He hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace. And also Tuan Zebe has been out with a hip injury. I think it's unknown when Diego Dalot will be in contention, but I think it's very probable he will miss the game this tomorrow evening. Bay is obviously Eric Bay is still out until the end of the year. Fosu Mensah is still out with injuries. So we have still got quite a lot of injuries. It's good now that some players have recovered from injury, but obviously anywhere this season, due to the injuries Man United have had, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. But yeah, obviously, we have to win tomorrow evening. I do probably believe, we are going to progress to the knockouts of the competition, because so far we've done quite well in the Europa League. A good game against FC Stania. Pretty decent game against Partizan Belgrade. Obviously, drew 0-0 with AZ Alkmaar. I've got to say that's probably the worst performance of the season I've seen for Man United, because in that particular game, we didn't register a single shot on target in that game. But obviously Solskjaer will see this competition, just like the Carabao Cup, so it is compatible. Obviously, to give more the youngsters, more opportunities. Like I said, obviously he'll give the experienced more opportunities as well. I do presume. But yeah, so we'll get on with the starting 11 prediction and that, like Killian said. So I do believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go with Sergio Romero in goal. He will go with Sergio Romero in goal. David De Gea has played once in the Europa League. He played in the Alkmaar game, but it's very probable that Romero will go in goal for this one. I think Solskjaer will stick with a 4-2-3-1 formation. He'll go Romero in goal. I think he'll also rest key players because obviously Brighton is on the horizon. That's coming up on Sunday. So at right back, I think he'll. I think he'll probably go with Aaron Bissaka. I think centre-back partnership will go with Phil Jones and Victor Lindelof, so I think he'll rest Harry Maguire. Left-back Brandon Williams, because Brandon Williams has done really, really well this season. Now, a lot of Man United fans do believe that, he's a better solution now than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that, Luke Shaw is our first choice left-back. I do expect... in that midfield, I think he'll go with McTominay and Fred, because they've been playing together, recently, and that of McTominay and Fred. And, to be quite fair, they have been quite impressive recently with McTominay and Fred. Like I said, I've got the same perceptions on, the duo. I don't know if they are the long-term solutions for Man United, but I would give him more time at the football club. McTominay's only, 22 years of age, but this season he deserves to keep his place in the team, because this season McTominay has been a first-team regular. With Fred, got some element of concerns by him. I will agree on the aspect, that Man United did overpay for him, because, we paid just under £50 million to him last summer. But like I said, not every player, does settle in, so I think we've got to give him more time at the club. I think the three attackers, he'll definitely he'll go with Marcus Rashford. I think he'll play him on the flank, Marcus Rashford. I think in the number 10, well, we've got, a variety of actual players, that can operate in that number 10. You've got Lingard that could play in the number 10. Mata that can play in the number 10. Actually, Mata could play in the number 10 in this particular game. Even Andres Pereira. Obviously, Andres Pereira has played in that playmaker's role this season in all his games he's played. And I think because Pereira's played around 8 games this season. But I'm actually going to go with Juan Mata in that number 10. Maybe on the right, Mason Greenwood could start on the right, because don't forget Mason Greenwood could play on the right. Could go with Jesse Lingard. I wouldn't select Jesse Lingard, because I think Jesse Lingard's been very inconsistent this season. Like I mentioned, reflecting on his stays at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. But who shall I go with? We actually could go with Andres Pereira, because obviously, you can put him on the right. So I'm going to go with Andres Pereira on the right. And I'm going to go with Anthony Martial up top. To be fair, I think the likes of, Rashford, he's rejuvenated himself quite recently, because I do know for the majority of this season that I have been criticising Marcus Rashford for his performances, But I think recently, he has really stepped up to the plate. Rashford has now scored 52 goals for the football club. And he's still a long-term solution for Man United, and he's only 22 years of age. But when he's on form, he can get going runs in behind. He seems to have that finishing aspect. So by the way, that is my starting 11 prediction. And Martial, has done well. Since he's come back. I've been very, very impressed with Anthony Martial. Obviously Martial did enjoy a good start to the season anyway, before he initially sustained that thigh injury. But since he's come back, he's done well. Martial's also scored 52 goals for the football club in all competitions, so he's compatible to Rashford in that aspect. And he's the long-term solution for Manchester United, is Martial. I know he predominantly plays out wide on the left, but obviously he seems to be more effective in that central position. But yeah, so like I said, that's my starting 11 prediction and that. And like I've already given you my perceptions regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I've said to you, he isn't the right manager for Manchester United. Now, obviously, like I said to you, reflecting on the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth, Solskjaer is under intense pressure at the football club. Because obviously, analysing the 4 games prior to the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth last weekend, the pressure had eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because in that 4-game period, with the momentum was building, the more confidence, seemed to be in more of the players. And I saw a variety of changes in that 4-game period. We seemed to scoring a bit more goals. The away form obviously improved, because we won 3 away from home on the trot. And it was we just looked a different team, to be quite honest. and I thought Man United were on the comeback. We got a good 1-1 draw against Liverpool. We won 1-0 at Partizan Belgrade. We beat Norwich 3-1. I think analysing it, that's the best performance of the season so far. And we beat Chelsea in the Carabao Cup by 2-1, and that was also a very good performance. And I thought the game against Bournemouth, the performance against Bournemouth, was totally comparison to the Chelsea game and the Norwich game, because I thought the performance against Bournemouth, was absolutely abysmal. There was a good couple of individual performances though, even though the performance, wasn't that good. But my element of I've got a few element of concerns about Man United. We are still struggling, to create chances, and this explains why we are not scoring enough goals. And I think in that aspect, it replicates last season, because last season, we didn't score enough goals. We might have created a lot of chances in a lot of games last season, but we still didn't seem to have that clinical element, and that's one of my element of concerns. The other element of concerns is that there's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. There is Yeah, there is, and I think the priority areas where Man United need to strengthen up. We definitely need a midfielder. We need to add depth in that midfield. We also need a striker. Someone that could come in that can assure Manchester United more goals. Someone that can be more effective in the box, and someone that can create chances. So yeah, and it's good during the summer that we did address some of the problematic areas. We got the experienced centre half in. We also got that right back in. Which is very, very good news. But during the summer, where we didn't address all the problematic areas, and as I've already taken them into account, that our recruitment has got to improve in the next couple of windows, because analysing our recruitment, it's been very, very poor for several years. And I think, reflected on that, the board are mainly to blame. But I said anyway, the board have been a liability for several years. And I think, like I said to you on my recent videos, I think we need to see a variety of changes at Manchester United. I don't think the coaching staff are good enough. I don't think Solskjaer's good enough for Man United. I still believe that there's players here that are not good enough for Manchester United. So I still believe another 4 or 5 more players need to leave the football club next year. Despite the fact, obviously, that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. And I think, from my perception, we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, maybe even more than that. I also believe, though, due to our inconsistency, I think everyone's to blame. But like I've just said, I think, the vast majority of the blame stems from the board. I think also the vast majority of the blame stems from Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward's definitely accountable for it, because Ed Woodward's also been a liability for several years. Definitely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in some aspects, is definitely to blame. Obviously, because for the vast majority of this season, he has been tactically naive. Obviously, he's team selections seem to be wrong. He admitted actually, that his team selection was wrong in the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. Some of his substitutions are questionable. People keep saying, why does he keep playing Ashley Young and that. But yeah, for me, everyone is to blame. But definitely, the recruitment has got to improve without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, I think we need to get rid of our current board and recommend a new board. And anywhere the board didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough during the course of the summer. But yeah, and look where we are in the league. We're 10th in the Premier League. I think we're around 3 or 4 points above relegation. We're 10 points behind top 4. We're 18 points behind Liverpool. I've actually now fully disregarded the top 4. I think it's going to take a miracle for us now, to get into that top 4. Because I did say at the start of this season that our expectations this season anyway, we'll be able to finish in that top 4. So in that aspect, we can get back into the Champions League. And I think, we're going to find it extremely difficult, to get the right calibre players to Manchester United next year. Obviously, obviously, due to our inconsistency, because, Solskjaer's under intense pressure because we've only won 3 of our opening 11 games in the Premier League, and we've only registered 13 points from a possible 33, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. So I can actually understand, why Solskjaer is pessimistic about, January signings, because it's obviously due to our inconsistency, and we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So the last time we had as bad a start to a season as this, obviously, was back in 1989. But I'm ashamed to be a Man United fan at the moment, and I've been ashamed to be a Man United fan, for the last 6 or 7 years, because we have been a toxic football club. Obviously, I think Man United have made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. I think one of the mistakes the football club did make was giving Mulligan and Solskjaer the job. I don't think we should have ever given him the job, and I think we also gave him the job too soon. We should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season to decide or not, whether he's the right candidate, for the job at Man United. And Solskjaer, will not last much longer at Manchester United. Maybe he could last until January. Maybe he could last until the end of this season. Maybe Man United are, willing to, see who else he can recommend in, to the football club in the next couple of windows. But one thing I can definitely assure that Solskjaer will not see out his 3-year contract at the football club. I can definitely, assure that. I think another mistake from the football club, was not recommending a new director of footballing, because I think Man United need to recommend a director of footballing, someone who has got who's got the right philosophy for this football club. And I said it would be beneficial to recommend someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who obviously would be reliable to oversee our transfer business. And during the course of the summer, there was quite a few former Manchester United players linked with the director's role. There was also speculation about Edwin van der Sar was about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I think a lot of Man United fans do believe that Edwin van der Sar would be the right candidate for the football club. You could arguably say another mistake for Man United was getting rid of Ander Herrera, because you could arguably say that Ander Herrera was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. And the thing that infuriated me more than now is that we let we let Ander Herrera, go on a free transfer, where we did let his contract run down. So also, that did infuriate me. But we definitely need to recruit and replace him for Ander Herrera, next year. Solskjaer's been assured he will be giving money to spend next year. I do believe that the club are orchestrating on spending another substantial amount. I think an estimated guess we'll look to spend from 250 to 300 million pounds next year. I think we'll look to get a couple of players in January. Then we'll look to do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. Some aspects of me do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I keep mentioning, and obviously I've got some element of concerns about Solskjaer. The things I do credit him for, that, he did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. And, to be fair, they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. Daniel James has done really, really well. I'd still say there's some elements of his game, that he does need to improve. You could say that Daniel James is still a prospect and needs time to develop. I think, obviously this season, he's played on the left. Obviously, he's played on the right because he can, play on each flank. But I've been very, very impressed with him in that. But yeah, he's done really, really well as Daniel James. And if he keeps his good performances up, I think his valuation will persistently grow. Van Wan-Bissaka, you could say he's been one of our most consistent signings so far this season. Well, at least for the vast majority of the games. And I think Harry Maguire has done really, really well. Again, I will agree that Man United did overpay for Harry Maguire, because, like I said, we've overpaid for players in recent years, and we've also spent, we've invested a hell of a lot of money into the football club in the last 6 or 7 years in all the managerial eras, since the Ferguson era. But I know Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world. He's the second most expensive signing at the football club, but he has still done really, really well. But I credit Solskjaer for that. Solskjaer's also got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. This is something else I do credit him for. Like I said, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and, trying to improve at Manchester United. And, not all the young upcoming players are going to become a fruition at the football club. I have got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players, so this is why I did say it would be beneficial to loan some of them out in January or get rid of them permanently. But I can definitely assure that Mason Greenwood, Tuanzebe and Brandon Williams, I think they'll all become successes at Manchester United. Maybe even McTominay, could become a success. But the vast majority of the young upcoming players anywhere have been given their chances this season. I have got element of concerns about Chong. I don't know if he's good enough for Man United. Obviously, don't forget before he'd received loan offers from PSV and his former club Feyenoord, but he turned them loan offers down because he confirmed he wanted to stay at Man United at least for this season. I think he's only played a couple of games this season. Was Chong. But yeah, he's totally comparison to Mason Greenwood, his Chong and all that, definitely. So he would be one of the young upcoming players I would consider loaning out next year. And Solskjaer obviously, has got a lot of honesty about him, and that's another thing I do credit him for. Even though honesty, doesn't really get you anywhere. And, I also credit him, for what he did during that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Because, we did really, really well, when Solskjaer, got first recommended into the football club. Like I said, he was the interim manager for 3 months. But during that 3-month period, the results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players and he exceeded expectations. But, since he got the job permanently, for the vast majority of this 8-month period or so, he has been permanent manager. He's been totally comparison to what I saw, during that 3-month period. I just don't think he's the right man for Man United. And, my element of concerns I have got about him, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, he is, tactically naive. He hasn't really got any intuition on how to manage a big football club, like Manchester United, despite the fact that he knows the culture and that of the football club, because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But, obviously before I was at Man United, he had a really short tenure with Mould. Well, I don't know if it was short tenure, but he had a tenure with Mould, obviously. He only managed to win a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. He actually progressed well at Mould and that, but Mould obviously had a big team. And then obviously before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. He only enjoyed a really short tenure with Cardiff. He only managed around 29 or 30 games for Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff because obviously, he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. And, reflecting on that, it just shows that he isn't good enough to be a manager anywhere. But, some Man United fans fear that if we had to keep him for this season or whatever, then he could replicate at Man United, what he did do at Cardiff. But I don't see it happening because I don't think Man United will get relegated because I think the club's too big. There's too much money and that into the football club. So, I don't really, see that happening. That. I don't, really see that happening. But, for me, I think the players we need to consider, getting rid of next year. We need to get rid of Phil Jones. He's one of the problematic players in the football club. Obviously, I think Jones could play in this game actually tomorrow evening. Like I said, I missed out 11 prediction because the likes of him and Rojo, get more of their opportunities like in the Europa League, the Carabao Cup. But I think, again, another mistake for Man United you can pinpoint out, was giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract last season, We should have never given him a long-term contract. And Jones has been a long-serving player at the football club. He's now into his, 9th season as a Manchester United player. He has been here 8 years. We have seen glimpses over the years of how good he can be. We did buying from Blackburn, was it for around £17 million? Was it back in 2011 or 2012? Obviously, he's won everything here, domestically at Man United as Phil Jones, and he has been here since the Ferguson era. Comparing Jones and Smalling, I think definitely Smalling's a better centre half than Jones. If I had to choose who should have gone during the summer between them, I would have definitely gone with Jones over Smalling, but obviously Smalling left instead of Phil Jones, because obviously Smalling is on loan with Roma. Rome paid just under £3 million to get him on loan. But despite that, we have still got 6 centre-backs in the team. And Smalling did actually serve 9 years at Man United, so he was at the club, nearly a decade. Was Chris Smalling. I was reading recent reports about Marcus Rojo. Now, obviously, I think it was a surprise solution that he didn't leave during the summer. Rojo, he was subjected to intense speculation. There was quite a few foreign clubs in for him. Obviously, Everton had inquired about getting him towards the back end of the summer transfer window. Don't forget we put around the £25 million valuation on Rojo, but reportedly, Man United and Everton, couldn't come to an agreement on an actual, fee basically. But he was actually closer to making a move to Everton and that. And perhaps maybe Everton could reignite their interest in January. But reportedly now we have prevented Rojo from leaving the club in January. Well, Solskjaer has blocked him from leaving in January, so he's probably still keen on keeping hold of Rojo. But, I think he's another one of the problematic players that does need to go. Obviously, Rojo's versatility is very, very good because he's predominantly a centre-back, but he can also play as, a full-back, a wing-back. But we have got quite a few versatile defenders, like I mentioned anywhere. Rojo, in some aspects of his game, he's really, really good. He's Rojo, like he's proven in the games he has been involved in, this season. Did okay throughout pre-season, that. But he is injury prone, is Marcus Rojo, because he has sustained quite a few injuries as a Man United player. Not to the extent of Luke Shaw or Bay, because they've obviously more injury prone than Rojo. But I just think we need to consider getting rid of him, because we can cash in for him if we get rid of him next year. Has he got around 2 years or just under 2 years left on his contract? How old is he now? Around 29 years of age. But yeah, I think Rojo could actually be involved in the game tomorrow evening. Like I said. Ashley Young, he's another player that Manchester United need to consider getting rid of, because obviously Young now has passed his sell-by date at the football club. Young is now 34, he's 35 next year. I thought Young, was good, when he was a lot younger. Now, when he first came to Man United, I thought he delivered the goods. But obviously, as he's been getting older and that, obviously, he's lost that, he's lost that yard of pace. He has actually been playing on a regular basis this season, though, as Ashley Young, despite the fact that that Anwan Bissaka, is our first choice right back. Quite a few times this season, Young has played as a left back. Maybe he's been playing regularly this season. Obviously, reflects on the injuries. We've had to certain fullbacks in that, so he's probably had no alternative, but to play Ashley Young in some games. But Young's been a long-serving player. He's now been at Man United 8 years. He's now into his 9th season at the football club. So more or less, he's been here the same amount of time as Phil Jones. I think Nemanja Matic, he's definitely one of the problematic players at the football club, and I think we need to consider moving him on. At some point next year. We could lose him on a free transfer at the end of the season, because Matic's current contract expires at the end of the season, but Man United do have an option to extend it by a further year. Matic is no longer first choice anywhere. He's lost his place in the team. I do believe it's mainly due to his inconsistency. Again, I will agree that Manchester United overpaid for Nemanja Matic. We paid around, £40 million to him from Chelsea. Back in 2017. He's now into his 3rd season as a Man United player, and he's been mainly inconsistent. He has been some games where he's stepped up to the plate. His passing, that's been good, but for me, he's too easily predictable. He's too slow. Makes that midfield look totally imbalanced. And he's 31 and he isn't getting any younger. And I know we need to address our midfield, but I think any of our midfielders at this present time are much better solutions than Matic. So I think Fred's a much better solution than Matic. Certain Man United fans, may disagree with me on that. Some Man United fans, preference, would be Matic over Fred. But I think we need to consider getting rid of him next year. So definitely, there is still more players that do need to leave the football club. Some people will say, it was a mistake from us, getting rid of Romelu Lukaku, because, Lukaku actually, enjoyed 2 seasons at Man United, and he enjoyed an exceptional first season at the football club. I think he scored 27 goals in all competitions, did Lukaku in his first season. But obviously, he didn't replicate that in his second season. But we had no choice but to let Lukaku go, because obviously, we lost his place in the team. But Lukaku's pedigree was very good in the Premier League. Obviously we had element of concerns about him anyway. He was a big game bottler. His first touch concerned a lot of Man United fans, including me. But he still, scored a lot of goals for the football club. He delivered 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions, when he was at Man United. I will agree on the aspect again that we did overpay for him, because we paid £75 million for him from Everton back in 2017. But, I'm happy with the money that we did generate from him, because we got £70 million for him from Inter Milan. And so basically we've recouped the money that we did, pay for him from Everton back in 2017. So I did say, that's a good piece of business from the football club. Sanchez obviously left. He had to obviously go, because Sanchez obviously endured a difficult 18 months with Manchester United. So I said, we look very exposed now in that attacking line, following, Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku's departures. But, yeah. And Solskjaer, recently give his overarching view on, Fred and Pereira, and that, Solskjaer's confirmed that Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for a while. I think, Fred being the long-term solution for Man United, if he is to be, he could become a liability after so long. But recently, I think he's actually, stepped up to the plate. But, Fred and Pereira, they're not world-class. McTominay's not even world-class. But I think, they have delivered the goods in some parts this season. Well, McTominay, for the vast majority of this season anyway, has done really, really well. Andres Pereira had a really bad game against Bournemouth, though. But I think in the couple of games prior to the Bournemouth game, I thought, he really stepped up to the plate. McTominay, for me, is obviously comparison to Fred and Pereira, because obviously he's a different sort of player. As you all do currently know, and that. What's that saying? As you do all know. But like I said to you on one of my videos, was it yesterday, we've got a variety of managers on our agenda, who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club, as I think you all know. There's still a lot of speculation about, Max Allegri, going on. I think if Solskjaer, does get sacked by the football club, I think it's very, very, imminent that, Max Allegri, will be our next permanent manager, because reports the other week saying that he was our primary candidate, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If Man United do decide to sack Solskjaer, I think we'll probably have to pay a substantial amount to get rid of him. I don't know exactly how much we'll have to pay to get rid of him. I don't think we'll have to pay as much as, how much we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho in December of last year. I don't know, to be quite honest with you. But a lot of Man United fans believe that us sacking him at this present time, or just before Christmas anyway, wouldn't solve a lot of problems at the football club. But I think he needs to go, now for my own perception. But, do you think Max Allegri, would be the right candidate for Man United? It also says that, Arsenal are interested in recommending him in, because obviously you've got Unai that's under intense pressure at Arsenal, just like Solskjaer's under intense pressure at Man United. I also believe Pochettino's under intense pressure with Tottenham. But I think Max Allegri's also been linked with the Bayern Munich job, because also, Bayern Munich announced early on this week that they had sacked Niko Kovac, because obviously Bayern Munich got thrashed by Frankfurt 5-1. Now obviously Bayern Munich are looking for a replacement for him. But it said the other week, Max Allegri, was in discussions with Manchester United, regarding, his salary, what he would earn if he was to be recommended into the football club. And he did actually say he'd earn somewhere in the region of nearly £7 million a year. He also did a show a few things if he was to take the mantle on at the club. He wanted to, recommend Patrice Evering as one of his coaching staff. He also wanted to, bring in Mario Mandzukic and, Emre Can, to the football club. So he did assure quite a few things. Max Allegri has only been managerless since the end of last season. Obviously, he stepped down as Juventus manager, so he actually did resign. I think he did resign anyway. He had a 5-year tenure with Juventus. he obviously progressed Juventus to 2 Champions League finals. He also won the vast majority of his silverware with Juventus. But he's, I think it said the other week he was learning English in preparation for his potential move, was Max Allegri, because he's actually, never managed in the Premier League. He's actually, so far, spent the entirety of his managerial career with in Italy. So obviously he's emulated himself up over the years and that, because he actually started, managing small various Italian clubs and worked his way up. He also spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy. So do you think Max Allegri, would be the right man for Manchester United? So there's still a lot of talks about him going on. Do you think he'd have the right philosophy for the club? Do you think he'd be able to bring the right calibre players to Man United? Do you think he'd be able to get us back, being a competitive elite level football club, But I think, regardless of what happens, whether we stay with Solskjaer or we get rid of him, recommend a new manager in, it's still going to be a long process anyway, to get us back, to how we want to be, because a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. Still more players do need to go. So it probably wouldn't solve them a lot of problems at this moment in time. Pochettino, he's still a possible candidate. Is Pochettino? I still believe he's on our agenda. But obviously, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December of last year, again, there was a variety of managers on our current agenda, and obviously, one of them was Mauricio Pochettino. Well, actually, at that time, he was our top priority. But obviously, we didn't get him at that particular time because, obviously, Pochettino was reluctant to leave Tottenham. Plus, Daniel Levy, who's the vice chairman of Tottenham, is a hard negotiator. When it comes to teams like trying to get the pursuit of their players or trying to get, any of their managers, he's a really, really hard negotiator. He's very, very stubborn, is Daniel Levy, by the way. But, I think Pochettino, if he got sacked from Tottenham and the job came vacant for him in Man United, I do believe, he would grasp that opportunity. And I think Pochettino, you could say, is definitely a better manager than Solskjaer. The only element of concern I've got about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but, he's good at developing young players. He's well Premier League proven. He's now into his 6th season at Tottenham. He's been there 5 years, and for the vast majority of his tenure with Tottenham, he has, done really, really well. They haven't done so good this season, but he did well last season, obviously, to progress Tottenham to the Champions League final, and that was actually their first ever Champions League final. He also had a great short tenure at Southampton, before he went to Tottenham. He actually began his managerial career with Espanyol back in 2009. So he's been managing now for just over a decade as Pochettino. Man United probably would have to pay around 32 million in compensation to recommend him in, despite the fact that I don't think he's got a release clause in his contract, because he's got a 5-year contract as Pochettino that he signed, I think, last summer. I think it was summer 2018. I think he signed this new 5-year deal, was it? And I think it's worth around £8.5 million a year. There was also Zinedine Zidane on our agenda at that point after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. Don't forget, at one point Zinedine Zidane was managerless for around 8 or 9 months, but obviously, walked back into the Real Madrid job. But obviously our preference was just Solskjaer, because we saw it as, Solskjaer, knows the club and that, Solskjaer, was a cheaper solution than Pochettino and all that. So this is probably the reasons, why, we did go with Solskjaer. But yeah, Pochettino's on our agenda. I think, certain people believe that, Chris Wilder, would be the right manager, to take over either Manchester United or Arsenal. I think Tony Cascarino came out this quite recently, and you've got to admire, what Chris Wilder has done with Sheffield United. He's, I think, now into his 4th season overall with Sheffield United, but he has progressed, Sheffield United from League 1 to 6 in the Premier League. So you could say he has done really, really good job as Chris Wilder. Obviously, before he's managed quite a few teams as Chris Wilder. Before he was at Sheffield United, he had a spell with Northampton. Before that, he had a long spell with Oxford. He was at Oxford, he was at Oxford a number of years. Before he was at Oxford, he was at Halifax, I think. And before he was at Halifax, he actually began his managerial career with Alton Town. So he's also, on our agenda. So I think there's around 3 managers on our agenda, who could replace Solskjaer. Obviously, Arsenal, they've got Jose Mourinho on their agenda. Jose Mourinho definitely wouldn't go back into the Manchester United job if it obviously became vacant. But there was reports earlier on this week saying that obviously Jose Mourinho had met with Arsenal's head of football. Can't remember his name, but he met with Arsenal's head of football and that over the possibility of becoming Arsenal's new manager. And I think Mourinho did admit if the Arsenal job became vacant, he would be interested in taking on the mantle at Arsenal Football Club, because Jose Mourinho is regarded as one of the best managers in the world, reflecting on the success he's had. Also, he's won stuff, everywhere he's been, so his pedigree and that's really, really good. Jose Mourinho's obviously, proven in the Premier League because, he managed Man United for 2.5 years. He had a 2.5 year tenure at Manchester United. He won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. I already give you the variety of reasons why it didn't work out in the Jose Mourinho era, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board and bad disputes with the top players, and the board weren't backing the signs that I wanted to recommend to the football club last summer. So these are reasons it didn't work out under him, despite the fact that Mourinho spent a substantial amount on Man United. And actually now, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, and obviously, you can say Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. Mourinho also won around 3 titles with Chelsea. He also won the Champions League with Porto and Inter Milan, and he obviously won loads of other silverware. And he's won about 25 major honours so far during his managerial career. So I think a lot of Arsenal fans would like to see Jose Mourinho take over, because Unai is not doing any good for them basically. I said if Arsenal don't get top 4 this season, obviously a lot of Arsenal fans confirmed, that they did. Obviously, I want him out. But obviously, Arsenal had Wenger before Unai. They had Wenger for 22 years. Obviously, he's the second longest serving manager in English football, behind Alex Ferguson, because Ferguson was at Man United around, 26 years. You could say, analysing it, Wenger had a good legacy, not to the extent of Ferguson's legacy, but still had a pretty good legacy. And I think he had a good 12, 13 years of Arsenal, then obviously it all went downhill under Arsene Wenger and that. But yeah, Arsenal need to see they need to see fundamental changes at their football club as well as my club, Manchester United. So you can say at the moment Man United and Arsenal are on the same sort of level. But yeah, there's been a lot of talks about Jose Mourinho, going into Arsenal. But like I mentioned, Man United, we've got a lot of players on our agenda for next year. I've already gone through the transfers with you. If Solskjaer is still to be here by January, I think he's still keen on sticking to the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the summer and that. But yeah, and I think Solskjaer wants to recommend 2 forwards in January. Like I said to you, I think it's very, very probable that we're going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. I think he's actually going to be our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. It's very probable he's going to be our first signing in January. Is Mario Mandzukic. He is a cheap solution. I think Juventus are demanding that they want around 9 or 10 million pounds for him. My only element of concern I've got about is recommending Mario Mandzukic is that obviously he is 33 years of age, so you can say he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career. But he said the other week that Mario Mandzukic has agreed, he agreed to slash his wage demands in half from 300 grand a week to 150 grand a week. Obviously, in order, to leave Juventus to come to Manchester United. And obviously, Mario Mandzukic is now served his 2 requirements to Juventus anywhere, because since Maurizio Sarri got recommended in, I believe that Mario Mandzukic has not played a single minute under his belt, so this is why he's served his 2 requirements. Mario Mandzukic will be a good adequate replacement for Lukaku, obviously. Not a long-term replacement for Lukaku, but I think at least he can show likes of Daniel James, Martial and Rashford how to be more effective in the box. But yeah, So he's definitely no on my agenda. And I think Man United, according to reports the other week, are prepared to hand him around an 18-month contract. Obviously, we're not going to give him a long-term contract, reflecting on his age. But I think Juventus have anywhere, been discussing, Mario Mandzukich's potential exit. I think there's been also, a few other clubs interesting, but we inquired about getting him towards the back end of the summer transfer window. But he can score goals, because he's delivered 44 goals in 162 games in all competitions for Juventus. But yeah, we've also got Moussa Dembele on our agenda. There's also been a lot of talks about him. And I think I would be excited about the prospects of Moussa Dembele, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial and Daniel James, because I think he'd complement them very, very well in our attacking line. And Moussa Dembele is an out-and-out number 9. He's a player that can assure you goals, and he's done really, really well so far during his tenure with Lyon. He's in his second season with Lyon. Last season was his debut season in France with Lyon. But I think if he came to Man United, he can replicate, what he's doing with Lyon now. He can also replicate what he did with Celtic, and he can also replicate what he did with Fulham. And also, the beneficial thing is that he's had experience of playing in the Premier League, because obviously he began his senior career with Fulham, did Moussa Dembele, and he is still only 23 years of age. He will cost the club a substantial amount. We'll probably have to pay in the excess of around 60 or 70 million pounds for his services. But he's another, attacker on our agenda. There's been a lot of talks recently about Declan Rice from West Ham, as you all know. I've been updating you about him, I think, quite recently. We was actually in for Declan Rice during the course of the summer. He wasn't one of our main priority targets. Was tentatively linked with Declan Rice. I think that West Ham are reluctant to offload him, because West Ham do know how much an imperative player he is. He obviously has cemented himself as a regular in West Ham's midfield. For West Ham, he's made 81 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, the vast majority of his appearances have come in the Premier League. He's made 72 appearances in the Premier League. But yeah, if Man United had to go in for him next year, he's going to cost the club a substantial amount. We've reportedly identified him as our top priority signing for next summer. But we could move him in January, but will cost us reportedly in the region of around £80 million. And we have got the financial power to meet that valuation. Declan Rice is predominantly a defensive midfielder, but he can actually not operate as centre-back. He is only 20 years of age, so still got a hell of a lot of development in him. As you know, Declan Rice's physical attributes really, really good. He's on the contract at West Ham until 2024. And West Ham, he's been at West Ham several years now. Obviously, he was a product of their academy. Before he was at West Ham, he actually was at Chelsea. He spent several years in Chelsea's youth academy, but he actually never got into their first team. Did Declan Rice? But he's another player on Manchester United's agenda. But like I said, regardless of whether Paul Pogba stays or goes anywhere, we still do need to address that midfield, because I still believe that Paul Pogba wants to leave Manchester United. I still think he wants to leave in January or next summer, like he did do for the entirety of the summer, basically. But like I said, at the start of this season, I definitely assured, that Man United, would not win the league this season, or, we wouldn't mount any kind of title challenge up, because, analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league. It isn't good enough, to win the league. It's not good enough to mount any kind of title challenge up, and this is why I said our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons. But it isn't, it's not good enough to win the league at the moment. But I expected us, now at this point, to be much more of a commanding position, than we're in. Like I said, I think the board, they're only sticking with Solskjaer at this present time is because obviously he's a club legend. And that disregard being a club legend, and if it had been any other manager, then I think probably Man United would have sacked them by now. To be quite honest with you, But yeah, so I don't think his managerial tenure is gonna. I don't think Solskjaer's managerial tenure, is going to work out for him at the football club and that. Ed Woodward's also still assured that Solskjaer's job is still safe for now. So I think Ed Woodward's willing to, give him at least a couple more windows, to see who else he can recommend into the football club. And I said, after the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth, it's going to be interesting to see what the likes of Keane and Neville and Giggs and that say about that, because Neville said, it'll only take another slip up, and Solskjaer, will be back under intense pressure. But for me, he isn't the right manager for Man United. But Solskjaer is our fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era, and we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers anywhere because 3 managers have already been sacked since the Ferguson era. So. But yeah. So anyway, that's your Man United Partizan Belgrade preview. As I said, I'll give you more news when Solskjaer does his when he does his press conference reaction this afternoon. He'll give us obviously more of the team news and that, and he'll just give us more news. So yeah. So enjoy your coin slides on the channel. Like I said, if you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you guys all again very very soon. Thanks for watching.